Law number 1.
There are copies on the table if anybody wants them.
This is the same as we did last year. Local law to override the tax levy limits established in General Municipal Law 3-C to deal with the 2%. If you don't have a law in place that allows you to override it, then if you do have to raise taxes, then you end up getting fined. So it's safer to have a law in place that allows you to override the 2%. It's the same as last year, adopting and pursuant of subdivision 5 of municipal law that allows the town board to override the tax levy. Local law approved by a vote of 60% of the town board. Meeting's open for discussion for the public. Anybody has any questions? The same thing that was done last year, the year before.
Just a safety net.
Personally, I feel we should just keep it below the 2%, show the taxpayers that we're trying.
Well, I understand that. It'd be nice to do, but the problem is if you run into a situation that you have to, then you end up getting fined.
Right. But I don't think we'll have to.
Okay. Next on the list is Steve Kilmer. I'm going to give him the floor to explain the site problem at Willow Bend, Route 36 and 119. Steve?
Yeah, I'm right over here. Every year, I guess, when the weeds get to a certain point and the school starts and the buses come around, people start complaining about the sight distance problem down there at Willow Bend. And I know I was before the board, I don't know if it was a year ago or 2 years, can't really remember, but I asked the board at that time if they could write a letter to the state to see if they could revisit putting that diverging wide with the double yield sign back into that intersection on 119 and Willow Bend. And I think you agreed at the time, but it didn't happen for one reason or another. So I'm coming back to the board to ask if you could write a letter with your feelings on putting that intersection back the way it was. Now, I met with Karen Patterson, the assistant engineer for Region 6 down there, and she asked that it would be helpful for her if the board sent her a letter with their views on that, on changing the intersection. I guess at one time the state wanted to go to all intersections being a 90-degree intersection. And that's good in theory, but in practicality, and in this particular instance, it's diminished the line of sight. Because we have an outside corner there, and when you tee straight into that outside corner, you lose your line of sight down the north end southern Route 36. The way it was, you were back 50 feet, and if you were going south, you lined up, and you could see a quarter mile down the road, and there was a yield sign, you could just travel on through. Same thing with going north. And the number one theory in traffic control is never to impede the flow of traffic, and that's exactly what they've done. They've brought all the traffic to a stop, and they've caused a bottleneck. Now you've got cars lining up, and people are trying to look. In the morning, we got 4 horses that stand out there eating that section of the pasture. So they're looking around horses, they're looking around weeds, they're dodging a tree, and it's the tree's not moving. The horses are going to be there every morning. Really, what needs to be done is the intersection needs to get back to the way it was.